Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2020 My Team career mode for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 20 of the season. Just two more races to go for this season before we get started with next season. If you end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as we make our way towards 20,000 subscribers. And as you can see, we are currently stacking our team up with plenty of activities to get themselves involved with during this time. But as you can see, we're making our way through and just trying to make sure that everything goes into the car. I don't even think I've got any of the upgrades that are set to come on for Brazil. I think there's one thing coming on for Abu Dhabi, but I put that on there for a while. Yeah, it's a drag reduction upgrade. But having a look then, I actually went over to the engine department because Mercedes-Benz actually came along and gave us a small engine upgrade for free. So that was very kind of them. So we've got an extra little mini engine upgrade for today's Grand Prix, which is awesome. So it means that pretty much, yeah, free upgrades. I'll take them. We'll take them, obviously. As you can see, we're waiting on that drag reduction upgrade to come into its own. And obviously, in terms of the budget, we've got 12 million at the moment, which we are obviously investing. And the resource points wise, we've got 1,608, which isn't the most, but we can still work with that. It's not too bad. But moving then in towards qualifying here, and our first flying lap, well, that was a little bit clumsy there. I was trying to get as close as I could to the wall to take a short run to the line, and I ended up just banging my front wing, so that was really, really clumsy. Second flying lap, and this was a much, much better lap for myself. I need to try and beat Lando Norris this time. At the moment, I'm actually safe in going through into Q2, but obviously I didn't want to take any chances. So we come across the start-finish line here and pretty much just cement ourselves going into Q2 quite comfortably into P7 there. So, yeah, like I said, I could have simulated and potentially, you know, avoided making a rash decision. But in the end, it was fine. We got P7 just behind everyone, bar Daniel Ricciardo making a little bit of a shock run there in P3 for Renault. Trying to find where my teammate is. Surprise, surprise. In fairness, though, he is 6/10 down. And he's knocked out in Q1. So, yeah, it's a really, really close qualifying session in general. So, you can't blame him, but at the end of the day, I am going to because, you know, I'm a horrible boss. Now, going in towards Q2 here, this is my run on a scrub set of soft tyres. So, this isn't really going to be anything impressive. Pretty much just to get myself a banker lap time in there. And across the start-finish line. And interesting to see that there was a lot of top runners that were going out for a set of the medium compound tyres. So with that in mind, I decided to do the same thing. Go for a run on the mediums. I actually found a hell of a lot of time on this lap. As we now go towards the start-finish line here, our best is a 1:7.8. Raikkonen in P12 is a 1:7.7. We're half a second up on that one. So we cross the start-finish line here. And we actually make it into Q3 on the medium tyres. So a different strategy call may have just actually been a godsend to us. It means that I've still got two sets of soft tyres in my back pocket for Q3. And I'll be starting on the mediums, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Now that I've seen everyone cross the line and set their laps on soft tyres, I feel like I might regret that. But, I mean, I'm the only one that's going to be starting on the mediums. So, who knows? It may work, it may not. I mean, we've got the option. I mean, we have to start on them now, but, you know, it is what it is. So we go towards my first final lap then in Q3. And you can see as we make our way down the start-finish straight here. It was a little bit of a clumsy final corner and a last exit. But we'll try and make do with what we've got as we now come to the start-finish line here. And it's a 1:07.5. We can go way, way quicker than that. We've constantly been quicker. Second flying lap, again. I don't know. This Q3 session didn't work out for me, really. We're trying to press on now and see if we can get as high up the grid as we possibly can. The science is set at 1:07.0. And unfortunately for me, I'm only going to set at 1:07.2. Yeah, I couldn't really find much time in Q3, to be honest. It was just really scruffy laps, and I was trying to make do with the lap that I had on my second flying run in Q3. But it didn't really pay off. So it's going to be P8 on the grid, but we are going to start on the medium tyres, so hopefully that can play into our hands. As you can see, there is the top 5 for you with the Mercedes front row lockout. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And we're going to advance on that one. And as you can see, again, surprise, 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 we have an interview with Claire. First, obviously, see with qualifying pace. I mean, I just, you know, it's Brazil. You don't really lose that much time. It's a very short lap. How are AlphaTauri going to feel about their results? I just don't care, so I'm just going to say that they're terrible. And move on with that, because quite frankly it annoys me every time that she keeps asking about a different team. But rivalry with Charles Leclerc, we're pretty much going to be, again, behind on that one. 4 points back with 2 races to go. It's going to be a miracle to beat him, but, you know, it is what it is. But let's get straight into it, which is the race for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit, and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. And that gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. And thanks for joining us, Ant. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and Perez, Thomas, Norris, Stroll, and Sebastian Vettel, Ocon, Raikkonen, Pierre Gasly, and Ricciardo, Albon, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Roman Grosjean, Magnussen, Russell, Latifi, and Jack Aitken. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, so yes, let's get straight to the grid then. As you can see, starting on the medium compound tyres. Looking at the strategy, I can either go medium to hard or medium soft soft. So I'm hoping that everyone does soft soft medium, and then I can do medium soft softs and have that better tyre advantage at the end. So let's have a look then. So we've gone to the grid now for the start of this Brazilian Grand Prix. It's 5 lights and it's lights out. Where we go here to start the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it's a good start from Valtteri Bottas compared to his teammate Hamilton. Bottas then's going to lead in towards the first corner here, as we now automatically get another great start and leapfrog in front of Sergio Perez in the Racing Point. Him and Stroll going side by side as we're trying to go alongside around the outside of Carlos Sainz, but Sainz has a better run through turn 3, so we're going to tuck into the slipstream as Sainz now getting very defensive in towards turn 4. We're going to go towards the outside of turn 4 on Sainz. We go a little bit wide there. That invites Sergio Perez to come back at us, but we swoop around the outside and just about fend off the Racing Point there. And going in towards the middle sector, we are in front of him now as Lance Stroll is trying to attack his teammate Sergio here in the Racing Point. We're going to go through though and maintain position here against the Racing Point driver. And as you can see, we're now going to try and see if we can get onto the back of Sainz nice and quickly. Lap 4 of the Grand Prix now, and Sainz actually began to pull away, and this is obviously the stage in the Grand Prix where I'm just trying to get my medium tyres to get it to working range, and annoyingly, these two pink bastards won't get off my backside because I just cannot get away from them, as we get a huge tank slapper on the exit there, getting very wide on the curb. Perez now trying to go to the inside line. We'll cover that off and then cover back onto the racing line to get us through, but yeah, unfortunately the Racing Points, I just couldn't shake him at this stage of the Grand Prix, so I need to be patient and bide my time here with these two Racing Point cars. I was dragging them along with me, and as you can see, Sergio Perez now just 0.4 of a second shy. We've got plenty of ERS in our back pocket, and we're going to try and use that for the next parts of the straight. Sainz 3.3 seconds up the road, pulling away now ever so slightly as Perez now gets very close to us in towards the first corner, but we're managing to stay in front of Sergio, and at this point I was starting to realise that I've made a mistake. Now, to go onto the hard compound tyres, I needed to go to lap 15 to make my hard to go onto my hard tyres from the medium compound tyres. These guys are pitting on lap 13 to go onto their hard compound tyres, as you can see. Basically meaning that my stint on these medium compound tyres has been a complete waste of time. Getting through to Q3 on the mediums did not work. I think you'll be able to see it very shortly. You can see there, look, I switched to the hard compound tyres. I saw that everyone else was starting to swap onto hards. So yeah, I was in a little bit of a pickle here. So as we now go through, we're currently in second place at the moment, as we are staying out a little bit longer, as of course we've still got the lifetime on these mediums. And this is what I check here. So I go into the race directory and you can see that Hamilton started on softs, went to hard. Leclerc goes to hard. Verstappen pits for hards. Carlos Sainz, who was in front of me, hard tyres. Perez was behind me, hard tyres. So it just goes to show that the medium compound tyres are not the tyres that I should have started the race on. I should have qualified on the soft compound tyres, and it meant that I would have had more pace in the first stint. Because quite frankly, the reason that I lost out in the first stint is because I was on the mediums and I was not on the soft tyres compared to everyone else. So that was really, really bad of me, but we'll learn from that. For future races, of course. I didn't know what was the best strategy. I saw drivers qualifying in Q2 on those medium tyres, so that's when I thought to myself, let me try and get through on those, and I did, but annoyingly everyone else then went back out onto the soft tyres then, clearly saving a set of soft tyres basically, to qualify on those medium tyres, to give themselves a spare set of softs for the race itself. So clever thinking, and annoyingly I wasn't that clever. I went the wrong way around, but nevertheless, we are now in, and we've pitted for our sets of hard tyres. Crucially, though, the pace was still good enough that we were able to stay in front of both the Racing Point drivers. So whilst their tyres were getting into a working range, we were able to crack on with our medium stint at the end, put in some good laps, and stay in front of them. And Sainz is 1.8 up the road with Giovinazzi ahead. And crucially, there's a lot of drivers now that started on the hard compound tyres. You can see them on the mini-map there, that started on the hards, and they're getting in the way of the drivers in front. So if we're going to make any form of inroads, we've got to do them now. We get such a great run here on Giovinazzi, really powering our way through. We're going to dive it up the inside of Giovinazzi into the last corner. I literally could have waited till the start-finish straight and blasted some DRS, but I was getting very, very impatient. I was a little bit angry in the cockpit, as of course I'd not got the strategy right. So I was just trying to be a bit desperate to gain some time back on my rivals as we set the fastest first sector of the race so far, proving that we're trying our hardest to push. Very, very quick now in the middle sector now, 5/100ths of a second on our personal best now. So we're starting to set some very good lap times here on these hard tyres. And now we've got a run on the McLaren of Carlos Sainz. That Renault power unit, like I said though, has I think been upgraded to the max in terms of its overall raw performance. And you can see that there. Sainz is rapid in a straight line, but I've got great brakes. So here I come, down the inside there. Okay, there's a little bit of contact there, but at the end of the day, you know, if you're not going to criticise Albon for his move on Norris in Japan, I think mine was very, very good. So yeah, great overtake on Sainz. Very, very aggressive, but at the end of the day, if you're going to drive for Force career, you've got to be aggressive, because if you're passive, get out. Now we're going to go on to the back of Pierre Gasly here, lap 20 of the Grand Prix now, and again, we set the fastest first sector of the race so far. Another PP middle sector here. This is a better run on Pierre Gasly this time around, and this one's going to be slightly less rash and attacking than Sainz's overtake here. Gasly, though, does come back at us out here, so he's going to use a little bit of a French torpedo, but I'm going to use my Korean flares to stop that one from coming anywhere near me, even though flares don't stop torpedoes. I should probably rethink my strategy a bit further forwards. Nonetheless, though, let's stop talking about military weapons and get back with some Formula 1 racing, shall we? Verstappen now is in front of us, next target, and he's stuck behind Kvyat and Raikkonen here. And Kvyat has crucially got DRS on Raikkonen. Raikkonen, who's also in the Alfa Romeo, has got a very fast Ferrari power unit behind him. Speaking of being bored, though, let's go for a move on Verstappen, shall we? So let's dive it down the inside of the Red Bull driver. And Verstappen, though, holds on in there, unlike Giovinazzi on our first run. But we're going to blast a bit of ERS here, and I've got plenty of it at my disposal. And I will breeze through with that one. Thank you very much. And job done. Verstappen dispatched with. Next up is Danny Kvyat. If we can then dispatch with Kvyat, depending on how long he stays out for, Verstappen may get held by him for a little bit, and we may be able to press onwards. So at the moment, we're now up to a net P4 in this Grand Prix after overtaking Sainz and overtaking Verstappen. And crucially, if you have a look at the gap behind between myself and Carlos Sainz, the gap is 4.3 seconds, pretty much solidifying that we did have good pace in this race. We just got it wrong at the start of the Grand Prix, which is why we weren't really in the mix with them. But for now, we've got great pace. We're pulling away from Sainz. Don't know if he had any, maybe he's got a bit of damage when I dive bombed him, but at the end of the day, use your mirrors, because you know that there's always going to be a Korean on the attack. And now we're going to try and follow with Danny Kvyat here and try and make a move on the Russian driver. Of course, we know that these guys have got some great torpedoes, so we're going to have to be very, very careful of what we do with Kvyat, but we're just taking our time, not making anything too rash. I could go for it here into the inside, but again, playing a patient game. I've got plenty of ERS at my disposal. A little bit of a bad exit there, but we are going to use the ERS now, and then we've got the DRS and slipstream and rich mixture. So if there's not enough in the back pocket, in fact he pits anyway, so it actually makes no difference at all. Verstappen then is 0.3 of a second behind us now as we go into the final phase of this Brazilian Grand Prix in P4 now, which is a very strong result for us. That's 31 of the Grand Prix now, and Verstappen still not any really attacking us that much now. As we go in towards the middle sector here, and we're trying to blast our way on through. We get a huge amount of understeer in there. Massive back-end tang slapper there. And we're going to have to take avoiding action, go completely off the circuit. Going onto the grass now here, rejoining onto the circuit. Verstappen now literally stuck in behind us as we cover the inside line from Verstappen there. A really bad mistake there for myself. I just had no front-end grip going into the corner, and I got caught on the exit. And yeah, I nearly spun then, but I just about hailed it on in there. I think I rejoined one pretty safely. I mean, Verstappen had plenty of room to go through, and now as we've gone to lap 32 of the Grand Prix, Verstappen now is getting closer to us. That little bit of mistake has sort of put me off slightly, and Verstappen now fancies a run at me here, as he was in DRS range for the entire time that you didn't see anything. He was just too far back to make a move. Like now, like he's in DRS range, but he's not exactly closing in on me, so I'm happy for you to just, well, stay there. Onto the end of the lap now, gap half a second between myself and Verstappen. So once again, I've managed to rebuild that gap back up to it's around about half a second stage that it was. It's probably closer towards 8-9 of a second. But it's still a gap nonetheless though. But Verstappen here looks like he might just be using a little bit more ERS. He definitely is. That engine is turned up in the Red Bull car as we're now going towards the inside of turn 1. A little bit of contact there, maybe between myself and Verstappen there as we go in towards the first corner. Getting very, very close then. As I was moving over to sort of give him no room, Verstappen wanted to go super late on the brakes. And he's made collision there. I actually checked it then. We make a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. And I wanted to confirm if Verstappen actually took any front wing damage from that. He did. So he did lose an end plate from that. I thought it was just tyre-to-tyre contact. Clearly it wasn't. It was actually a little bit more than just tyre-to-tyre contact. Obviously, as you can see, it was a little bit more than that now as we keep on pressing onwards with my fight versus Verstappen. Of course, two Mercedes cars and the Ferrari of Leclerc way far up front as we now go through in towards the middle sector here, putting the car through its paces, and that's a huge another tag slapper. This time it's going to be a spin at the hairpin for us now. So the first time around, we just avoided the spin. That time around, the back end got caught out there by myself. I took probably a little bit too much speed into the corner and got too tight to the apex, and the back end was saying absolutely no, you are not doing what you want to do, and we have just lost the position to Max Verstappen. Everything so far is going so badly wrong in this Grand Prix, yet we're still in P5. I don't understand how this works, but I mean, yeah, we picked the wrong strategy. Back in slides again then. We picked the wrong strategy going into the race. We've spun it, we've lost the car twice. Verstappen though, crucially, look at that. So Max actually, with just 3 laps to go, has decided he needs to pit and change his front wing. Which you don't. You've got a 5-second gap to me. I need to try and close that down and have to repass you. Then there's a 5-second gap to myself and Sainz behind. That's 10 seconds. You're not going to lose 10 seconds with a slightly damaged front wing. It's only the end plate. But coming towards the end of the race then, Valtteri Bottas has won the Brazilian Grand Prix to put him as close as possible to his own thing. And as I'm coming towards the start-finish line here, just to add insult to injury, I didn't check my fuel loads. I've actually run out of fuel, but luckily my gap is so big to Sainz that I was actually okay. So, out of everything that you have just seen in that Formula 1 Grand Prix event, I have still managed to finish in P4. I don't know how, but I have. By starting on the medium compound tyres, which was the wrong choice, by spinning the car full all the way around, by losing the back end of the car and nearly spinning it and going off circuit, basically 2 major moments at the same corner, to losing, running out of fuel on the line, and I still finished 4th after starting 7th. You know, I'll take that. I'll take that. You know, if the Koreans are going to go into battle, we go into war. We've got to make sure that, you know, there's a couple of bruises that come out of that, but we still come out on top. And today, that's a great race result for us. The top 3, there was nothing I could do about them. Way too quick around here. Albeit, yeah, just literally had way more pace, but Bottas is going to crucially take a big step towards claiming his first ever Formula 1 World Championship with that race win here today. So Valtteri will be definitely the man happiest of them all, and Hamilton will be thinking, what can I do to dethrone my teammate from potentially taking his first ever Formula 1 World Championship. For us though, what's crucial is that we managed to beat the Red Bulls yet again, which is solidifying our place in the Constructors' Championship against them, with Albon only finishing in P11 after starting P15, and Verstappen finishing way down after changing his front wing. Really wasn't necessary to do it, but he did, so I can't, you know, that's his own doing. But overall, in terms of the race, yeah, we had the pace, but we just got it wrong, unfortunately. Drivers' Championship, Bottas then is 12 points clear of Lewis Hamilton going into the final round of the season. Vettel 14 points back. So the 3 of those drivers can still win the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship in the next race in Abu Dhabi. It's just about which one of those 3 drivers can take the title. Constructors' Championship-wise, that gap between myself and Red Bull now is advancing ever so slightly. If we can have a good race in Abu Dhabi, we can solidify a P3 in the Constructors' Championship after what's been one of my best runs in the second half of the season of an F1 calendar. Again, if you guys know me, and you've watched my videos for a long time, especially these type of career mode ones, or even the F1 journey for that matter, you'll know that I'm always so strong at the start of the season, and then towards the end of the season is where I struggle. Whereas the start of the season this time around, I wasn't really that good, and towards the end of the season, from like Belgium onwards, I've just seemed to just have such great pace. I've just felt really, really comfortable. And I think the most important thing out of all of that is that I've been happy playing the game. I think that's the most important thing out of it all. No matter what you do, no matter what assist you run, no matter what AI you run, as long as you're happy and you're really enjoying your time, that's all that matters. Rivalry though with Charles Leclerc, he wins 5-3 in the race, which does mean with technically 1 round to go, he's pretty much won the rivalry. What a shock, like I was going to beat him in the first place. As you can see though, Jack Aitken there goes up to level 9 on the team acclaim as he looks to continue to develop. And in terms of the finances then, money-wise, we are going to take a full 1.21 million in the bank, which is beautiful for us. And then over onto the deductions here, we only lost 10k, which was from me. So it's another 90k coming into the bank, which means we're now up to 14.73 million. You can tell, you know, my boy is a financial genius. So we've got plenty of money now, which we can invest. The team headquarters, we're going to go back into it now and see what we can do, which isn't going to be that much because obviously I'm going to be looking towards continuing to just save and invest resource point and also finance-wise, so then we can upgrade our HQ much further. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that Grand Prix, because as the title of the video is probably going to say, everything in that race went wrong, but it turned out alright. So yeah, that's all good. As we're going to have a little look now, as you can see, there is the money being put back into my bank account. And we're going to wrap off the video there. So guys, hopefully you have enjoyed today's episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode video. If you have, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And as you can see, we're just going ahead and adding in our next set of activities to do for the foreseeable future. And you can see there's the vehicle performance comparison chart. In general, we're actually quite close to, we're pretty much slapped back. Like, there's really no difference between ourselves and Renault in terms of overall performance. So there's work to do. And as you can see, we're having a look here at pretty much all of the areas that I'm going to be looking to improve heading into next season. But for now, guys, I'm out. Thank you very much for watching. Take care all. Peace.